members of a religious cult organization known as Islam. They believe they have the right to dictate the attire of their womanhood. I think that ban should be lifted. They can't do it in France. That's to say just about the rights of the women concerned. If you counterpose to that, well, why can't a woman wear anything she wants? You'd have to give me some evidence that there was ever a woman who wanted to go out in the street only with the husband's permission and only wearing the curtains and viewing the world. There's no evidence of that at all. There's a great deal of evidence the other way. Suppose she did make that choice, however, let's allow it, she would come directly into conflict with my right to see her face. I'm not going to allow people to wear masks in the street. I'll give you an example. The Ku Klux Klan is a Christian identity organization. It's better known as a racist one. There's not much of a difference between racism and Christian identity in this case because it's... but that's what it always is and has been. And it has, in my opinion, a perfect right to wear the hood at a rally under the First Amendment that's protected by the police and with various regulations observed. That's fine. But no Klan members to be allowed to wear that hood to work. If a Klan member is a nurse or a teacher or a bus driver, I'm sorry, no. And you're not coming into the bank with that either. What could be plainer than this? We have very excellent cultural reasons for expressions such as, what have you got to hide? He doesn't dare show his face. These are things evolved over a long, long time. And now these people want to shut down the public square and imprison women into the bargain. And empower a group that has much, much bigger ambitions than this for changing our behavior, modifying our society. And I think it would be as well to stop it now while we can. And stop it solidly. No hoods, no masks.
Fair enough. And if you want to carry on that later with Christopher Hitchens, let me just get some other questions. I hate to keep doing the edges, but they're easy. Yes, sir, go ahead.
A question on the Iraq War. You write very convincingly about the reasons for our intervention there, and I agree with you, but how do you answer the question, at what cost of American lives? 5,000, yes, 10,000, 50, 100. Is there a point at which the calculus changes?
There must be, but it wouldn't be measurable by either of us or anyone else I know. And, for example, had that sort of what I call the Cindy Sheehan calculus been applied 4 years ago, say, okay, that's enough casualties, we're leaving Fallujah now, we're leaving Anbar province, then Iraq would be now very much like Rwanda. And I don't know whether we have the right to let that number of people be killed in that way, but it would certainly mean if Iraq was run by al-Qaeda that our forces would have to go back in and under very much less advantageous circumstances. I think that's a prudent calculus.
Yes. Can we get a microphone in the middle there, just to mix things up?
Thank you. I'm a little nervous. Well, I guess my question is that you are a naturalized citizen in the United States, and you've seen, I guess, society go through a lot of changes in your time here. And one thing, personally, I'm worried about, even with the change in government, is the predilection of certain entities to want to proclaim this to be a Christian nation. And, I guess, do you see America, or at least certain, could you foresee America being truly a fundamentalist theocracy in the next 10 years?
No, I don't think it's ever been possible or ever will be. By the way, you're asking in the right town. Where it was very, very clearly decided to exclude all mention of a supreme being from the Constitution, or except in the vaguest deistic sense from the Declaration of Independence. And I'll tell you why it wouldn't work, just very briefly. Everyone knows about the wall of separation, don't they? The Baptists of Danbury, Connecticut, wrote a letter to President Jefferson saying that they feared for their congregation and their standing in Connecticut. They thought they were being hard done by and persecuted, and they got a very considered letter from him. He took a lot of advice before writing it, saying to them that there would never be any circumstance in which the United States government would take a side in a religious dispute, and that there would always be a wall of separation between the church and the state. So everybody more or less knows that, right? Now, who can tell me what the Baptists of Danbury, Connecticut were afraid of? The Congregationalists of Danbury, Connecticut.
Very good.
Thank you, sir. Now,
Yes.
by the way, disgraceful, the rest of you don't know that. Now, I actually can tell the difference between a Congregationalist and a Baptist, but I shouldn't have to, should I? I shouldn't have to know what they think about anything. It's my right to be uninformed, because they can't impose themselves on me. Or, thanks to the Constitution, on each other. But that's what was at stake. They weren't being persecuted by atheists. They were being persecuted by people whose theology was almost the same as their own, but was sectarian. For this reason, when Jefferson ran against Adams, in the first place, one of the reasons he's believed to have won is that though Adams made hysterical propaganda about Jefferson the atheist and the rest of it, Adams gave the impression that he himself was a very, very convinced Episcopalian and wanted an Episcopalian regime. And the evidence is that a huge number of Quakers, Mennonites, Baptists, and others all voted for Jefferson because they preferred a deist or a secularist or even an atheist to a dictatorship by another bunch of Christians. This is the point that the stupid members of the Christian Coalition just don't get. They can't get it. So we say, all right, you want prayer in schools. You want that? Yes, we've always said so. Well, it's starting tomorrow. Hindu prayers in every school. Are you happy? What, you didn't want Hindu prayers? You mean you should have said only white Protestant prayers. Then we would have known what you were talking about. But if they said that, you know very well how far they'd get. So, no one wants it because no one is willing to live under someone else's religious tyranny, which is therefore the easy and simple proof of the superiority of the atheist and secular point of view. Among our other achievements, we take care of the rights of these people who believe all this crap.
We have time for one.
Given what they say about us, it's pretty generous.
We have time for one more question. We'll go up the aisle here. And why don't you just pick someone out there? There we go. Yes, sir.
In today's paper, you said that your main object in life is to fight superstition. How do you see that going now, and how do you see that going in the next 50 or 100 years?
Pretty well. I mean, the evidence is that the appalling apparitions of theocracy in the contemporary world, the horrible annexation by the Russian Orthodox Church of the Putin regime, for example, increasing fusion of a state-church system in Russia with very aggressive chauvinistic style. You're going to be worrying about it soon if you aren't worrying about it already. The Islamic Republic of Iran, which is about to prove to us what will happen when, the day we've all been dreading for a long time, when a messianic regime gets hold of apocalyptic weaponry. Well, we'll find out what that's like quite soon. The messianic settlers in Israel who think they can bring on the Messiah by stealing other people's property. The racist, totalitarian ideology of Hamas. The people who want astronomy replaced with astrology in American schools. That lot, you know who I'm talking about. And the most spectacularly venal and reactionary and corrupt and backward form that the Roman Catholic Church has taken probably since the Second World War. So there are enough people around who say enough of this and want to push back. And all the evidence is the argument is breaking our way. And the number of people who are willing to say that they don't believe in any supernatural dictatorship, or dimension even, is growing all the time. So good, I think. I'm quite pleased with it.
Well, on that note, thank you for speaking.